Alright, so I really wanted to go on with this Venus series, but I just didn't want to be on camera. I'm a Scorpio rising. I'm not really a fan of putting myself out there all the time, so I decided to conclude this Venus series talking about Venus and Aquarius, and then after that, obviously, I'll talk about Venus and Pisces as well when I get the time to, um, by doing this kind of as a podcast instead. Venus and Aquarius. Venus and Aquarius is actually one of my favorite Venus signs. Now, whether or not I feel like I could actually be happy in a relationship with one of these guys is kind of an entirely different story. But Venus and Aquarius make incredible friends. I mean, that's kind of to be expected with them ruling over the 11th house of friendships and social circles. But Aquarius is more than just friendship. It's humanitarianism at large. It's humanitarianism on a global scale, which is why we kind of see that disconnect with Venus and Aquarius in their loving relationships. Love is more of a quote unquote airy thing. It's something that forges a bond between two people that isn't necessarily deep on an emotional scale, but it does involve kind of this need for non judgment, for acceptance, for a positive and long lasting friendship, and also kind of this need for difference. I have personally yet to meet a Venus and Aquarius that didn't kind of gravitate towards people that were different, or at least eccentric in some way, shape, or form. These guys will go out of their way, actually, kind of, to pick out the most unique and original person in the bunch and kind of set their sights on them. One of the reasons as to why Venus and Aquarius can kind of get a bad name sometimes, especially from more emotional signs like Venus and Scorpio, for instance, who also squares them. Um, and Venus kind of in Leo too. They square as well, but they don't kind of vibe as well together, mainly because Leo is kind of all about Leo. Leo wants to kind of shine and be bright, and Aquarius is very, very different. They're more people focused, people as in large groups of people. Venus and Aquarius also has the ability definitely to love multiple people at once, and that can kind of be a little bit tricky for a Venus sign. If you are in love with a Venus and Aquarius, you should know the positives of this sign is that if you do win over this Venus and Aquarius, you're going to have a best friend for life. You're going to have somebody that you can simply just hang out with, have fun with, do social activities with. Venus and Aquarius really kind of desires this partner who has kind of similar beliefs to them, but more so like they get along best or bond best with people who kind of have a similar vision, people that want to kind of work towards a cause. And the vast majority of Venus in Aquariuses do have some sort of strong vision or ideal of what they wish the world would kind of be like. Very ahead of their time, Venus in Aquarius isn't necessarily the kind of person that needs you to stand there and hold their hand all day. They're more than happy doing things on their own, and that can also kind of be their downfall in love, because a lot of people will kind of take that like the Venus in Aquarius doesn't really feel like they need anybody, and they don't in a sense. They don't necessarily need somebody else. Um, Having a relationship, loving somebody, it's more of a friendship type love. It's more of an acceptance, non-judgmental acceptance, and love for them will be very different than what it would be for any other Venus sign. I've said many times, and I'll say it again, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, that's where you are going to be a visionary. It's going to be where you are ahead of your time. It's going to be where you're more likely to think outside the box, to go against the grain, and to do things in a very different way than what most people kind of deem as acceptable. Due to the fact that they kind of share this vision of communal style love, Venus and Aquarius doesn't necessarily view love as kind of the end all. The concept of soulmates necessarily isn't really high on the list of a Venus and Aquarius. Not to say that there might not be other things in their chart that will support that kind of ideal for soulmate style love. They could have eighth house placements or strong Scorpio in their chart or Pluto in their chart elsewhere, or even Pisces, I guess you could say, because a lot of Pisces have Venus and Aquarius. Um, But love is just very, very different. It's kind of, there is that mentality that is kind of, I can do with it or do without it. But if it's going to be around, I want it to be something that nourishes me. I want it to be something that stimulates my mind, something that keeps me kind of uh, on my feet and has the ability to shock me and teach me new things that I couldn't think of kind of on my own. If you're looking for a lover that can kind of accept you in your entirety, that can accept you as a human being, as a flawed and non-perfect individual, a Venus and Aquarius is somebody that would definitely be great for you. With kind of this different strokes mentality, Venus and Aquarius is going to blow you away. They're going to blow your mind, I guess you could say, with their shocking ideals and their shocking desires. Everything about Venus and Aquarius is going to be different in some sort of way. One of the most incredible things I think about the sign Aquarius in general is that Aquarius cannot be changed. And actually, if they feel like you're trying to force change upon them or to kind of go, force them to kind of go against their ideals, they are going to rebel against you. It's going to feel almost as if it's a control mechanism that you're kind of displaying to them. The worst thing that you can try to do to a Venus and Aquarius is kind of force them to lose their identity, their sense of self, but not kind of in a way like you would see Aries ruling over the first house, like Venus and Aries. They're not going to want their freedom kind of hindered. Either is Venus and Aquarius, but it's more so from this kind of detached logic. Aquarius as a whole kind of gets that connotation sometimes for being cold. But it's not that they're cold, it's just that it takes a special kind of individual, I guess you could say, to love a Venus and Aquarius and accept the person that they are and accept the kind of relationship that you're going to have with them. Because again, it's not going to be the norm. They're not going to kind of bow down to your beck and call. And it's not like they're doing it even to be rude to you. It's just that remaining their own person is very important to them. They don't even know how to necessarily not be themselves. So if they feel like they're being restricted by you in that sense, again, that's going to be a deal breaker for them. But in all, I would say the most important facet of a relationship or loving somebody in general for a Venus and Aquarius is the ability to be friends with them. Personally, I was raised by a Venus and Aquarius male, and my dad was incredible with that. Even as a father, he was definitely a friend figure to me. But definitely a very different kind of detached style of love. Very much so focused kind of on wanting their partner also to be able to remain an individual, to be themselves. That's another kind of cool thing about Venus and Aquarius. Not only do they not want to kind of have to conform to anybody, but they don't want you to either. And they're actually not really going to find themselves attracted to somebody that can easily kind of bow down and submit to somebody else's will. They want somebody else that's going to kind of challenge the system. They want somebody else that's going to kind of go against the grain and do things differently. And yeah, that's going to be the most attractive quality to them. Now, due to the fact that we're talking about Aquarius energy, I'm not going to sit here and say for a male they're going to be attracted to this, because Venus and Aquarius would not want me to say that. They would not want me to kind of gender stereotype things. That's very big for them in a relationship as well. All social norms, in a sense, are being thrown out the window. It's not about what everybody else is doing. It's about what you're doing as a couple, about what you're doing in a partnership together. No judgment, complete and total acceptance for all of your eccentricities and all of the weirdness that is involved in being you. They're completely in acceptance of that because Venus and Aquarius knows what it's like to be different. But they also know that there are different things about every single person that they come in contact with. And due to that, they kind of want to celebrate that within you. With that being said, kind of the worst thing that you can do if you are in a partnership with a Venus and Aquarius, and this can be very, very tricky, is kind of
try to get them to live up to some sort of norm of somebody else that you know. They don't care about the Joneses. They don't care what the Joneses are doing. This is about us. This is about our relationship. We are unique. We are original. We do our own thing. We march to the beat of our own drum. But this can be a little bit tricky sometimes, especially when there's kind of socially accepted norms involved in a relationship that maybe the partner of the Venus and the Aquarius wants to kind of abide to. There can be kind of a little bit of argumentative banter kind of between that due to the fact that they don't care. They really do not care what everybody else is doing. They don't care about being normal. They want to just be able to be themselves 100%. And who they are is very, very different again. So, with that being said, I'll wrap this up by saying that if you want to win over the heart of a Venus and Aquarius, just be yourself. Be your weird, unique, individualistic self. Go against the grain. Let it all hang out. Don't attempt to kind of polish yourself for them, because what they're going to love about you is everything that makes you you. And that's pretty much all I got for Venus and Aquarius. Thanks, guys.